it's heading towards the end of September, and it's Tourism Month. It's been a big focus of ours, hasn't it? Today, the Northwest Province is going to be hosting World Tourism Day celebrations up in Hartbeespoort. I wish the weather was better for Thami Ngubeni, but I'm afraid it's not. The theme for this year, tourism and green investments. I know Thami's going to be joining us in a couple of minutes from now, a couple of moments from now. In fact, let's go across to her. Thami, hello to you. Let's come back up to Hartbeespoort. Not the warmest of days for you, but tell us how we're going to be celebrating World Tourism Day in that part of the country.
Certainly not the warmest of days, Gareth, but a very exciting day, not only for South Africa as a country, but globally. In different places around the world, tourism departments are celebrating and marking the importance of tourism, not only for cultural exchange and understanding the cultures and the peoples of the world, but also in the contribution that tourism makes to the GDP of various countries. We are coming to you live from the Northwest Province today, and I have an amazing guest with me. A very warm welcome to you, Sis Khosi Tyobeka. You wear many, many hats. Yes, indeed, you do.
Yes.
And not only are you a business owner yourself, but you're also the acting national chair for Women in Tourism, and you are the current chair for Women in Tourism Northwest Province chapter. Tell me a little bit about your own personal business, Zimasa Tourism and Travel.
Thank you, Sis Thami. What I do, Zimasa Travel is a travel management company where we focus predominantly on corporate travel. We assisting corporate companies to facilitating travel on their behalf, actually, where we book travel both domestically and internationally, from booking flights, accommodation, conferences, as well as meetings and incentives where they want to take their clients or their staff. So that's what we do, where we book and issue flights, and we are IATA and ASATA accredited travel agency.
You sit in a very privileged position because you are able to discern the movement of tourists and tourism within the country. How would you rate business tourism within South Africa, let's say post-COVID? Have we actually recovered?
Not really back to our 2019 figures, but we're getting there in terms of the numbers that we're seeing now, where now what we're seeing, the businesses or travelers in the business sector are using business, and we're calling that leisure, where they're using business travel as well as taking their families with them. So that's what we now adding as a service, where if somebody wants to travel and they're going for a conference, we always have to think of their next of kin to say, this is a package that we can add on, because your company is paying for yourself, but then you can bring your partner or you can bring your family, especially during school holidays, to travel with them. And we call that leisure because they can have the conference. Post the conference, they do activities, they enjoy the city, like Northwest. If somebody is coming to a conference in the Northwest, they can do sightseeing within the province with their family. That is an extra income for us as a business. So we always have to upsell that for them.
And how has domestic tourism fared during this time? People traveling from one province to another, the local Sleka.
I think we pre-COVID, we were always looking at these tourists from outside, forgetting that Sis Thami and her family can travel the domestic experiences. And COVID taught us that we have tourists in South Africa, where we now had to focus and refocus more on our domestic market and educating them, because it was about education. Most of them thought tourism or traveling is expensive. So we had to simplify it for them and say, this is what you can do in your backyard. For example, if you're staying in the Northwest, you can go hiking, you can go here and spend a day with the family or spend a night with the family. You don't have to spend 3 days, unlike the international tourists that spend 5 days or 7 days. So we then simplified it for our domestic tourists, and then Short Left is assisting us in terms of marketing it freely.
And it really seems to be working, because the latest research from Statistics South Africa shows that South Africans are actually starting to travel more locally, that their duration of stays may be shorter, but they certainly are spending the money as they travel.
Very true. And that's one thing that we like, because we want, the bed nights are important, but we also want the spend. So some recovery figures, they will show you that the number of nights spent are less, but the income or the money spent is much more, which is great for us, because the more money they spend in one specific destination, is good for business. So that's what we're happy about. Whether they spend one night or they spend 2 nights, but more people spending 1 night, it's good as people spending 3 nights in that specific destination.
We've spoken about tourism for business as far as international travelers and guests are concerned. Are you finding tourists coming here just for leisure?
Well, most of the tourists, they want to see South Africa for the safari. They want to see South Africa for the winelands. They want to see South Africa for the landscape. And because most of the destinations in South Africa, they are more open, spacious, post-COVID, we've seen those travelers wanting the more spacious destinations. And South Africa has been one of those destinations that they would pick.
Certainly still continues to be a feather on our cap as a country and a nation. Still a lot to offer as far as being a destination of choice for travelers. We are marking World Tourism Day, coming to you live from Hartbeespoort Dam in the Northwest Province. Thank you so much to our guests, the multi-hat wearing Khosi Tyobeka from the Women in Tourism. We'll be right back with you, Gareth, and the South African morning team a little bit later on in the morning.
And we're looking forward to World Tourism Day. It's a focus of ours here on the SA Morning. Back to Thami Ngubeni out in Hartbeespoort for us this morning.